Hello and welcome, it's Captain Cairo here. Today we have a full TRX tutorial. We'll be going into how to use the TRX to train any muscle group that you think about. You can do full body workouts, you can do isolation training, you can do whatever you feel like, and I'm going to show you how to exactly. And we have a guest today, which is Sandro. He's a TRX specialist and I've gone to some of his classes before, and let me tell you, he destroys. So he's showing you right now how to work with the different length, and depending on how long you have it and how much space you have, you can actually work in more confined quarters or in more open places, just like here. You can pull it all the way down to the ground, so you can do chest exercises, and you can pull it all the way up to do back exercise. You can even pull it all the way up to do pull-ups and stuff. So we're going to be starting out with leg routines, and the first one here you can see is a squat. Basically you're holding both hands and you never straighten them really out, so you have a little bit more tension on your biceps, and you go down like you would with a usual squat. Now bear in mind, we go parallel or lower, and we keep our knees behind our feet. Now next up we have lunges. Basically no different than normal lunges, except where you have some more tension on your arms because you're holding on to the TRX, and we're gonna be stepping backwards, left side, right side, left side, right side. Pretty simple it is, but it actually way harder than it looks because you're keeping tension on almost all of your body parts. Now while I have you here, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, put them in the comments and I will get back to you straight away. And moving on, next up we have the arm and shoulder extension, including squats. So basically you do a full squat and you do left arm straighten out, right arm straighten out, and squat back up again. So this one is a combination of legs, shoulders and arms, basically almost a full body workout because you have to engage your core anyway, and it puts a lot of stress on your legs, so you're gonna have those quads exploding if you do it often enough. Now be careful to straighten your arm above your head, behind your ear, before going down again. Now next up, this one is a little bit more complicated because you're gonna be holding static holds for a little bit longer, and you can actually combine this with adductor and abductor training. So basically what you're doing is hip thrusts, holding it, or instead of holding it, just repeating a couple of repetitions and then holding it after for increased effect. Also what you can do is do the hip thrusts and then open and close your legs, which we're going to be showing you a little bit later, to increase the glute activation. Now you can see here Sandro does it beautifully, and here we go. So basically static hold and open your legs to activate your glutes, and close your legs and go down again. So it's a hip thrust with increased glute activation, easy peasy, but holding it is actually not that easy because you have to keep your arms straight, you have to keep the tension in your back so you don't just slouch, and you keep your head straight. Be careful not to just let your head hang loose, and always open as far as possible while keeping your feet on the ground and then closing again. You can hold it statically, open and close, or you can do the hip thrusts in between also. Now next up we're moving to push-ups. Now push-up variations, you can see here, be careful with your hands so they don't just break apart. Hold it pretty tight as if you would hold a bar and do the push-ups like this. There is multiple variations, and you can open up all the way like this, or you can do them a little bit closer together like diamond push-ups. You can do open and close while you're in the movement. So there are so many different ways to do those, and it actually super hard to hold because you have all of that tension on the TRX band itself and you gotta hold it tight. And moving on to shoulders and arms. So basically he now includes a push-up and a push-back as if you're pushing yourself away from a wall. Now be very careful with this. You want to straighten out your arms all the way, and if you have an impingement or you've ever been hurt in your shoulder before, be careful while doing this exercise and see that you take as much pressure off your shoulders as possible to have it as a rehabilitation exercise. Now moving on, this one is for the advanced people. Be careful, you see you can slide left to right. Now this is going to be a problem, so be sure to stay in the middle of the band, and you're going to be straightening out one arm and going back. So this is the one-armed Superman. You can see his face straining because it's hard as fuck, and this guy is muscled as crazy. So if he's struggling, you can imagine how you're gonna be doing if you're just a beginner. And keep in mind, your back has to be straight. Don't go into that super curve and don't go into that cat curve. Just be careful and straighten your arm all the way and move back with a straight arm. Now we're moving on to the plank positions. As you can see here, he is stepping in with both feet, and again, be sure not to be going left up, right up with your legs. Keep them straight. Keep the tension on your core, on your back, and on your shoulders. Now he's going to remove one leg, which is going to make the exercise a little bit harder on your open leg and on the core, and be sure to change. So just don't do the left leg and forget about the right one. And here you can even add some multiple movements, like opening your legs sideways or opening them up to activate your glutes more and stuff like that. Now see, he's holding it on his shoulders. You can also hold the plank like here on your hands or move up and down. Now this one again is a little bit more advanced and has a lot of triceps activation. It's a really hard exercise if you're still a beginner because you have to keep that core tight, and you also have to go up and down pushing while keeping your hands on the ground and while being sure that your wrists don't dislocate. Now here we are doing some ab crunches with added activation on your shoulders and arms because you have to hold the plank, and you can do multiple pull-ins, like crunches to the side like he's doing right now, crunches to the middle. There is so much stuff you can do. You can actually, if you take this whole video and break it apart, you can do multiple training plans without a problem. Now here we have some extra glute and adductor work, so opening up one leg or opening up both legs. It totally depends on you and how you feel and how much time you have. You can do multiple, you can do just one leg, and here you have an even more added exercise to pull in a full crunch. So you have this ab activation included with your hip flexors, included with your legs and your glutes, because you have to hold the tension. Now this one here, as I said, is crunches to the side for your obliques. Pretty easy from the looks of it, but try holding it for half a minute and you're gonna see it's not that easy. Now this one is a little bit harder because you have to be careful again with the shoulder, and you basically keep one hand on the ground and open the other hand to the side, pulling it back in and putting it back where it came from. Now here is very important thing: don't slouch and don't let your ass go down or up. Just keep your plank and then do the thing with the arms. Now this one is for your lats, for your rear deltoids, and as I can show you up here, be sure your knees don't move too far to the front and too far back. You actually have your feet on the ground at all times, and you're holding and you're pulling outside as far as possible. So you actually want to be careful that you have your elbows as far away as possible, and you're moving up, straightening out, and moving down. Now here, if you turn your hands around, you can actually have some increased biceps activation, because that's what the biceps is for. Basically, turning your hand around is one movement the biceps is made for. So basically here you have like a lat pull with your biceps added to the whole thing. Now here, this one is again, if you have shoulder problems, please be careful with this. You just pull your arms straight up all the way, opening it up, bringing them up to over your head and then down again. So you have the full rotational movement before you move them back down, so you don't impinge yourself while you're doing the exercise. Now you can see here again, this is one of the harder exercises. We call it the sitting Jesus, and there is a reason for that, because it hurts like a motherfucker. Alright, now here you can see you can also add some chest activation if you do the full turn in the front. So you pull back, do the full turn in the front like here, bring them back over your head again and move them to the front. This is, again, as I said, an advanced exercise, so be sure not to hurt yourself. And as you can see here, he is telling you to open up over your head first before you open sideways. Now this exercise is basically like a lat and biceps pull, including your scapula. So you're going to be rotating upwards, rotating downwards, and moving to the front. So lat pull, rotation upward, rotation downwards, and straightening out your arms again at shoulder height. Now be careful when you're doing the rotation. You actually want to feel it in your rear delts and you want to feel it in your lats. Keep them engaged at all times, and you want to have your shoulders pulled together before you rotate, as if you're doing a bench press, because this is going to keep your shoulders from getting hurt, and this is going to put some extra tension around the muscle. So moving on to the next exercise, this is really basic. You can either do the lat pull with your fingers up, including some more extra biceps tension. You can do it with a full rotation, doing some other biceps tension, and you can keep your fingers down and just pulling like a normal lat pull. This is totally up to you. You can play with it, see what you feel more comfortable with, and you can go over from the lat pull and opening your arms upwards, which is rear delt work, pulling back your elbows, pulling them down, and bringing your arm forwards again, as you can see here. So take some of those things and just play with it, see which muscles it activates more for you, see where your weaknesses are, play with it, and just build your own training exercises for the TRX. Now here you have some triceps engagement. So he's basically doing a lat pull and then straightening his triceps out to the ground. Alright, now here we have some more chest exercises. Basically, you've seen this before. This is a very wide stance push-up variation. He's also including one-armed Supermans with it. You can do both, so going into the push-up and then into the Superman. You can do the two-handed Superman also if you want to. Now, I don't really know how those exercises are called. This is his work. He is the master, so I'm basically just narrating what he's doing. And here, as you can see, he had some more chest exercises with push-ups and raising your legs left and right, engaging your hip flexors and crunching by pulling your leg forward, and doing all of this with the push-up, which is going to give you some nice muscle engagement, is going to give you some nice muscle-mind connection here that you're working out. Now this one is for the chest also. Now here, be very careful, you don't want to rip any tendons or anything, and straighten out your arm sideways and pull it in. You can do it with both hands at the same time, you can do it with one arm, totally depending on how you want to do it. Now, as you can see, we've gone through so many exercises and so many different exercise variations that you can do depending on how strong you are, how often you're going to work out, and how your routines are built. So take what you can from this and build your own routine. This is also what I encourage the most, is just take the exercises that you really like, build yourself a full routine with them. As you can see here, another Superman exercise, which also includes your legs. So you have so many variations that you can work on, and it looks way easier than it is, because the first time I took one of his TRX classes, I went out fucking dying. It was so horrible. I had like DOMs for 2 or 3 days after because I wasn't used to the exercise. So perfect for progressive overload. Thank you guys for tuning in. This was Captain Cairo and Sandro, and I'll see you guys pretty soon. Captain Cairo, peace out.